Tamaqua Area High School, the site today for Schuylkill League basketball. A double dip as Tamaqua takes on the Indians of Lehighton. Hi, and welcome everyone. Aldecoa, Tommy Moser. I'm as tall as him because I'm standing on the bleachers. That's the only way I'll be as tall as him. Your D11sports.com game of the week presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine. The first of two to be played. And Tommy, interesting matchup. We've got coach versus her former student.
Yeah, it's pretty rare when you get to come back and coach at a school where you coached for almost 20 years. Not only that, Coach Berezwick's getting to coach against his all-time leading scorer here when he was here at Tamaqua.
Well, let's talk about Lehighton and Joe Berezwick. He's done a great job, 3 years here, 17-plus years at Tamaqua. His team is young, and they're building, and maybe a year away or so. But right now, one of the key players for them is going to be Hailey Miller.
So Miller's only a sophomore at 5'5", but she's going to run the whole show for the Indians. Not only their leading scorer, but she's going to be the point guard as well, so she's got a lot on her shoulders tonight.
Well, for Erica Davis, then Erica Barron, the all-time leading scorer, her key player is Emma Kaczynski.
Kaczynski's a stud, Al. You're going to find out she's got some offers to go play college basketball. She's got over 1,600 points. She's continued to expand her game in her 4 years as a varsity player, so she's really the best athlete on the floor tonight.
Our D11sports.com game of the week presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine coming your way next. Stay tuned.
Concussions are serious. 3 million sport, recreation, and auto accident-related concussions happen each year. 20% of high school athletes who play contact sports will suffer a concussion during the season. St. Luke's is the region's leader in assessing, managing, and treating concussions in athletes and non-athletes of all ages. Our multi-specialty teams of experts collaborate to care for you using the latest treatment options. Don't play head games, take concussion seriously. Call St. Luke's to schedule an appointment with one of our concussion experts.
We are back here at Tamaqua Area High School. Glad you could join us. Aldecoa, Tommy Moser, and also standing by down on the court is Casey Wallace. Casey is a sophomore at Lehighton Area High School. He talked to both coaches. Casey, what do they have to say?
Thanks, guys. I talked to both coaches before the game, and Lehighton coach Joe Berowicz told me they're trying to contain Emma Kaczynski, who is scoring an average of 22 points per game, and they need to minimize their turnovers and keep the game moving fast. Coach Erica Davis for Tamaqua told me she wants to keep the game fast moving and push the tempo and to get wide open for shots to take.
All right, KC, thanks a lot. And obviously we'll hear from KC throughout the night while he's down on the court Casey, again, one of our 38 student reporters. He's from Lehighton Area High School, and we'll hear from him at halftime once he talks to both coaches. Take a look at tonight's keys to the game. And, when we talk about the keys to the game, obviously it's one of those, when you look at these two teams, they know each other, they're familiar with one another, but at the same time, Tommy, you have to play to win the game, and the early parts of the contest are going to be key for these two teams. Take a look.
Yeah, let's take a look at the keys of the game for Lehighton. Coach Berezwick wants to contain Kaczynski, as KC pointed out, and minimize turnovers. They can't compete if they turn the ball over and give extra shots to Tamaqua. For Tamaqua, they're just looking to push the tempo. They have the horses to run, and they're going to try and get up and down the floor and make this game too fast-paced for the Indians. We see an early jump ball called.
So we are underway from Tamaqua High School. Glad you could join us. Aldecoa, Tommy Moser, Casey Wallace. One of two to be played here tonight. Tamaqua with a big win last night against Mahonai area. And one of the teams out there to beat in the Schuylkill League in Division I without question. We had a chance to talk to both coaches, as Casey did, and obviously, they're so familiar with one another, and, the coach versus the student and all that. It's been a couple of years now. Baseline jumper, that one is good, so a good start by Aaliyah Fisher.
Fisher, nice mid-range jump shot. She was in rhythm, had some space, knocked it down. Good movement by the Indians in their first possession. There's a steal.
That one taken away, knocked away by Hailey Miller.
You mentioned about the style of play, Al, and I asked Coach Berezwick if he wanted to play the same style as Coach Davis here at Tamaqua, and he kind of laughed. He would like to, but I think he knows that Tamaqua just has a little bit more in the tank, and they're going to have to control the tempo here tonight.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Outside three, that one will not drop. Rebound goes to Lehighton and is taken there by Fisher. Fisher now will run the floor here for the Indians. In traffic, nowhere to go, and somehow it gets into the hands of Lehighton anyway. They don't get a shot off. Taken there by Kaczynski. That's Kaczynski with a nice outlet pass.
Fantastic vision right there, Al.
To Bailey Reinhardt for the first two of the game. So 2-2 at the 6:29 mark. Outside jumper, no good. Rebound. They battle for it on the baseline, and it's picked up there by Jamie Zuber. Zuber, a 5'3" senior guard. First stoppage, we'll take a look at the starting lineups for both teams. Baseline jumper, stop and pop, and that one's short.
Indians set up in a 2-3 zone trying to control the tempo, and Tamaqua struggled in the half court. Their sole bucket came off of a fast break.
Drive in the lane, can't convert though. It's Tanea Klotz. And we'll come the other way. This one is a long two. It doesn't go, however, for Emily Titus.
Well, you can see the Raiders are really trying to push the tempo here. Tamaqua, they're one pass and shot. They are not shy about putting it up.
Thinking three, nothing there. Right now, the tempo is going really well for Lehighton. They're okay right now. They've been playing aggressive here in the early part. The thing is, when you look at the tempo, again, you're looking at a Tamaqua team that just played last night. Does that play into factor a little later on, or doesn't it? But a team that's really goes, really up and down the court a lot. So we'll see what happens here as this goes through.
It will play in the second half when your legs are a little tired, especially if you're going to play at the pace that you like to play at for 32 minutes.
Off the baseline, another takeaway. This time it was Alexis Solomon.
So we're only 3 minutes in, but Tamaqua definitely having some problems with this 2-3 zone of Coach Berezwick and the Lehighton Indians.
Driving through, nice little seam, but a little bit too far on the little lay-in by Hailey Miller, couldn't convert.
The Indians have had several nice drives to the basket. They just haven't been able to convert, so I think Coach Berezwick has to be somewhat happy here. He's getting some good looks. At some point, those are going to fall. There's a nice flash and cut to the basket by 22, Titus.
So Titus with her first bucket of the game. 4-2, Tamaqua up.
Aggressive man-to-man here by Tamaqua. A little too aggressive. As we look at the last set, drive, kick out. There's a nice cutter. That's what you need to do against the zone. You need ball movement, you need player movement, and they got a bucket out of it right there.
We approach the midway point of quarter number 1. Trying to feed in traffic. That one knocked away, and it's picked right back up by Lehighton. A chance here, and the easy J for Ashley Marchsalt.
Coach Davis not real pleased right now. Feels that her girls are getting outworked. We have a 30-second timeout.
With that, take a look at the starting 5 as we bring in the starting lineup for both teams, coming into the game. Again, they played last night, but take a look at the starting 5, and you see the difference with that 5 seniors on one side.
That's a massive thing. You don't see that in high school a whole lot, Al. 5 seniors on one side. Lehighton actually does have the size advantage. You see a 5'8", 5'9", and 2 5'7". Tamaqua with 5'3", 5'4", and a couple 5'7", but 5 seniors, they've played a lot of games together, and that's invaluable at this level.
Your thoughts here, opening couple minutes. We're literally midway through the first quarter. What have you seen so far?
So not sure if Tamaqua expected a zone out of Lehighton, but with the exception of that last set, they've really struggled to move the ball. So let's see if Coach Davis comes up with something out of timeout here that's going to exploit this zone by Lehighton.
Baseline jumper, that one off the mark. They battle for it. Good job rebounding was Jen Fredrickson. Gives them a second chance. That's one thing you can't do. They've been doing a good job with the rebounds. And Titus with 2 more. She's got 4.
Couple buckets for Titus. Nice job by her. She's being in the right spot at the right time. There's a little pressure defense by Tamaqua causing a turnover. And we get our first sub of the game, McKenna Kane, into the game for Tamaqua, number 4.
I want to thank Mike Horomiak, the athletic director here at Tamaqua, for getting us up and ready to go. Helping us out here once again. Again, double dip. Going back and forth with some emails. And, when you look at a player like Kaczynski, and you said it, where she is right now, you start sending me some numbers, and I'm like, whoa. And I know I sent it to you, and you're like, okay.
And you see why right there.
Her first 2.
When you have 1,600 points early on in your senior year, that you're headed towards a 2,000 mark.
So 8-4 in favor of Tamaqua. Erica Barron, who's the head coach, Erica Davis now, played from 03 to 07, 2,317 points. Cindy Miller, 2,155 from 76 to 80. Spin move, Titus can't get the roll. Try for the rebound. It remains Tamaqua basketball. Amy Zahner, 1908 from 2007 to 11. Emma Kaczynski is sitting there at 1651 right now, followed by Lynn Titus at 1426. Going to the baseline. This is a 3. If it goes, and it does, dropping it home is Jamie Zuber, her 8th three-pointer of the season.
Now that was a fantastic extra pass right there by McKenna Kane. She had an open jump shot herself. The defender closed out on her, and she kicked it out. We call that a +1, and her teammate got an open 3 and knocked it down. And there's another turnover. That's 2 or 3 in a row by Lehighton, and Coach Perezwick wants to talk about it.
Now, game was tied at 4-4. Things have changed here on a mini 7-0 run.
As you see the replay right there, as I talked about, Kane unselfish, and when you have teammates willing to do that, it sets you up for some really nice things.
School record in the season, and you start looking at those players, and even Kaczynski, which he did last year, but Erica Barron, the coach, Erica Davis, 738 points in her junior year. That's amazing, Hailey. In 1 year, 738 points. That's amazing.
There are some teams that don't score that in a year, and she's that's pretty impressive.
Emily Titus, by the way, is sitting at 786 points. So a couple players here, before they're all said and done, one can hit 1,000, the other one can hit 2,000.
Titus could get there if they make their way through districts a little bit. They're sporting a nice 8-2 record right now, and looks pretty good.
Glad you could join us here for our D11Sports.com Game of the Week, presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine. Al DiCarlo, Tommy Moser, Casey Wallace from Lehighton with us as well. Again, Tamaqua playing Mahanoy area last night and getting the victory on the road, 61-46. They will have Panther Valley up next, and then Pine Grove, the next 2. Driving through Titus. And she gets some contact.
You can see why Titus is nearing 1,000 points. She's pretty crafty with the ball. She takes what the defender gives her.
So Titus to the free throw line, makes the first. She's a 75% free throw shooter. And Tommy, right now, doing what she's is capable of doing. She's got 5 points early going.
Little dribble drive action right there as Coach Berezwick goes man-to-man out of the timeout. And Titus takes advantage, gets to the line, and knocks them both in.
So a 9-0 run, 13-4. Outside shot off the mark. Rebound, however, goes right back to the Indians. Have a wide open look at a three. That one well off. But a second and third effort here by the Indians. And a little baby hook off the baseline, making that one look really easy. And scoring is Alexis Solomon.
That was my move, the baby hook.
Did you make any, though?
No. Plus mine were lefty.
That's beside the point.
Well, it is beside the point. That was, as you said, taking advantage of multiple shots there, and Coach Davis can't be too happy.
A long two for Kaczynski. (15-6). Up by 11, double-digit lead. Yeah, I got to go back to the open, Tommy. I realize how tall you are now. I mean, I was standing on that bleacher, and I was still about a half-inch shorter, I believe. I don't think I was taller. I think I was still shorter.
I think we should have switched it up. I should have been on the taller step, and you should have been on the lower step. And then we could have seen
like
how that looked.
Manute Bol and Spud Webb. That's what it would look like.
Like twins, Schwarzenegger and DeVito.
Exactly. Off the baseline. 50 seconds left in quarter number one. Tamaqua really starting to take control here. Off the dribble. Nice shot in the basket by Kaczynski. Boy, she's smooth.
I'll make one observation real quick about Kaczynski. She has 1,600 points. She is not selfish in the least. I think that's only the third shot she's taken. She's not looking to score. She's getting her teammates involved, and that's pretty impressive.
Stepping in for Lehighton, number 34, Emma Chappelle. Returning for the Lady Raiders, number 25, Jen Fredrickson. Also stepping in, number 10, Beck.
So final 29 ticks of quarter number one. Again, first of two to be played here. And we'll be right back at it tomorrow afternoon at 12:45 tip at Notre Dame Green Pond. Girls action with Notre Dame taking on Wilson. Notre Dame playing tonight against Palmerton. And Notre Dame right now 10-0 on the season, so we'll see if we get them unbeaten after tonight's game. Three-pointer is good. Now the outside shot is working. That was Sophia Boyle, her first three of the night. Final seconds, and not looking at the clock. And that winds up the first quarter. 20-6, a 14-point lead by Tamaqua. We'll come back right after this. You're watching our D11Sports.com Game of the Week presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine, and she pops home the three.
Hall of Fame pitcher Steve Carlton knows what it takes to exceed expectations. He knows what it means to be part of a team that rises above the competition. He knows a champion. Steve Carlton knows St. Luke's Orthopedic Care.
One quarter in the books. 20-6 is your score as we welcome you back here to Tamaqua High School. Al DiCarlo alongside Tommy Moser. Casey Wallace with us as well. And, Tommy, your thoughts. It was 4-4, but after that, 16-2 run for Tamaqua. What happened?
Well, what happened was Coach Davis called a timeout because she felt that her girls were not playing very aggressive defense. Lehighton was getting a couple loose balls and a couple second-chance shots, and after that, the defensive pressure cranked up, and Lehighton scored 2 points in the final 4 minutes of the first quarter.
So 6 for Titus and 6 for Kaczynski to lead the way. They're getting some good looks from the baseline. Begging for the basketball on the far side is McKenna Kane. Now she'll get it, but now two come over and cover her. Now that leaves someone loose down below. Shot no good by Fredrickson.
One other thing that Tamaqua's done is figured out this zone defensively. Lehighton, they started to whip the ball around and get some open looks. We'll see if Coach Berezwick makes an adjustment, but I don't know if he feels his girls can play Tamaqua man-to-man.
Shot high off the window, and that is good by Emma Chappelle.
Chappelle in good position right there. Hands ready, catch and shoot. Nice job.
So back-to-back buckets. That's Hailey Miller. Her first basket of the game. She has to be productive in this game to have a chance.
Correct. She hasn't got going yet, but that might get her. Sometimes all you need is to see the ball go through the net, a layup, a free throw, and that was an opportunistic basket right there off of the steal. And now they force a turnover. Here's the replay. Chappelle, catch, use the window. That's why it's there.
(20-10). A 10-point advantage. Now the takeaway. Here comes Tamaqua once again, as assessing and scoring is Kaczynski, and she's got 8.
You see how she hung in the air right there, Al. She was cut off nicely by the defender, who did a good job without fouling, but Kaczynski, too tough, hangs in the air that extra split second to allow herself to turn and score. Great help defense right there. It's going to result in a turnover, but Coach Davis will be happy with that. You get a look at the replay. So right here at the last second, she hangs in the air and finishes.
22-10 is your score, 6:10 on the clock. Shot from the outside, that one off the mark, taken by Hailey Miller. And Tamaqua looking to run the floor, trying to add to their lead. Their biggest lead was at the end of the quarter at 14, and that one in the lane, no. Rebound, they'll reassess and start over again.
Now we're seeing some good motion offense here by the Blue Raiders. The floor spread out, ball's not sticking, they're not standing, good movement, and that's why they're getting some open looks.
Another look at a three, that one rims out. Rebound again. I tell you what, so far, Jamie Zuber has been aggressive down underneath. She's getting some rebounds. You know, Zuber averaging about 4 a game.
And she's only listed at 5'3", so it's all about heart. Who wants the ball when it goes up off the rim? She's found a couple offensive rebounds.
We approach the 5-minute mark. Nice pass in the lane. And Lehighton's doing a good job. There's just some of the shots are just not falling. Those are the shots that Coach Berezwick's saying, hey, listen, we attacked the interior. We had some opportunities, and they didn't go. But
Correct.
At the same time, you know, you want those to start flowing if you have a chance here.
Yeah, you need to knock some of those in, but he is happy with the offense. That's one of those things where you want the process to be better than the end result, and then you figure and hope that the end result will work itself out because the process is good. Only the third foul of the game combined for both teams, as we have Zoltak and Brocious on the call tonight, 2 veterans, Al.
Talked to Mike before the game. That one, a straight takeaway. Right into her hands, that was easy for McKenna Kane. I'm still getting back to the open where I felt tall. How tall are you anyway, 6'6"?
6'6".
Yeah, I felt like 6'4.5".
I'm 6'9", standing on a bleacher.
We may have to do this more often. 22-10, 4:45 on the clock. Good hands, knocked out of bounds by Marisol.
Now that time the ball stuck on the right side of the floor for Tamaqua and it ended up in a deflection. See if they get a couple reversals here. That's what you're looking to do against a zone. Rotate the ball to the other side and make the defense move.
You know, interesting when you look at Coach Berezwick and Erica Davis, and I've broadcasted many of their games, you know, the days they battled against Central Catholic and Mike Kopp. And, you know, Coach Berezwick seeing him here on the Lehighton side is just kind of a weird feeling because just all those years on the other side. But they talked before the game, and, you know, it's interesting. But, you know, he obviously has the close ties to Tamaqua at the same time.
The weirdest thing for Coach Berezwick is probably being in the other locker room where he's coached hundreds of games in the home locker room, and now here he's in the visiting locker room.
You got that right.
Us coaches are creatures of habit. You know, we don't like to mix things up. Great seal inside.
Bucket is good by Solomon.
Excellent pin and seal and good entry pass. Indians have done that a few times tonight. They haven't converted all the time, as you mentioned a minute ago, but they've had some really nice sets looking inside, and they post up well.
That was an easy runner in the lane, and obviously maybe 9 out of 10 times Kaczynski's going to hit that, but fortunately for Lehighton, they did not. And all of a sudden, you're still looking at a 10-point lead. You're trying to cut into single digits here.
Yeah, she's missed a couple in a row that I think she'd like to have back, but it's a game of basketball as we get a look at the replay here. Look at this seal. Excellent job of holding off the defender, Titus, with her left hand. Great position on the pass. She called for it where she wanted it, caught it, and laid it in.
Driving baseline, now going outside. Here's a three. That one no good. Rebound right back to Tamaqua and Kane. Kane over to Kaczynski. Good movement of the basketball. You mentioned that before. There's Titus. Titus with a nice little move and scores two more.
That was Kevin McHale-esque, Al, with the head fake, shot fake. Really nice move.
We shouldn't mention McHale in any of the broadcasts. Just want to mention that. Not a fan.
Not a fan of Boston or of Kevin McHale?
Him too.
He did a cameo in Cheers. Ever watch Cheers, Al?
Yes, I did.
Hard contact inside right there.
You like the guys that you didn't like years ago. You like them more now.
Correct. That's kind of how it is with you and me.
Yeah, right, exactly. Well, still there's no like here. 24-12, 2:40 on the clock. Coach Beresbick, 27-31 in 3 years. In 21 years, 304 and 213. 18 seasons at Tamaqua, 277 and 182. And we talked about the youth and his team on a rise. He loves his time here with Lehighton and having that chance to coach again. He knows it's a tough schedule.
Well, he's got 300 wins, so that tells you a couple things. He's been doing it a long time, and he knows how to coach basketball.
Man, no doubt about that. Loves doing this game here, his hometown. Great memories, great friends. Speaking of wins, we'll have a lot. You know, he's got 300 wins. Underneath, that shot doesn't fall. Boy, you want to take those shots back if you're Lehighton. They're there. There's a bunch of shots there. Again, they're not going right now.
If they make 3 of those 5 or 6 that roll out, this is a 6-point game right now, and that's what Coach Bereswick is going to tell his girls at halftime.
That all said, Tom, at the same time, 2:10 on the clock. You go both ways here. You know, you could take the big lead if you're Tamaqua, or it can go the other way. It's going to see interesting going to the locker room. Who has that momentum? Because a lot of things happen in that last minute and 40, minute 50 of each half.
Yeah, it can be very deflating here if you are Lehighton and Tamaqua rips off the last couple baskets and it gets up closer into the 20-point range. But if they sneak 1 or 2 in and it's inside single digits, it's a whole different ball game as you walk in there into the locker room. Absolutely.
That one knocked away. And up to Kaczynski. Too hard off the window, no contact. Oh, move it up the floor. Picked up here by Hailey Miller with 1:25 on the clock. Stopping and popping. J won't go. Rebound again, and that one won't drop. So second effort is no good by Solomon. And we'll run the other way. But again, with Kaczynski, not going to miss that shot.
That's her move. That's twice she's done that. You can tell she's worked on it. Her footwork's good. Her balance is great. She is the best athlete, as Coach Davis told us, and you can see it right there. As we get a look at the replay here, Kaczynski missed the one prior, but right here, again, you saw that for the second time tonight. She just hangs that extra split second, which is very difficult for high school players to do. Very underrated skill.
(26-12), inside a minute, down to about 45 ticks. Titus, nowhere to go. Back out to Kaczynski. Up by 14.
Titus moves very well without the ball. She got herself that open look. She knows how and when to cut.
Now if you're Lehighton here, a much needed basket here in the final 30 seconds. Final 20 seconds. 26-12 is your score. Good job of Tamaqua moving him out. Down the final 10 seconds. Here comes some pressure.
Well, Coach Davis had a couple fouls to give and was telling her girls to be aggressive. I'm not sure she felt that was a foul, but Mr. Zoltek saw it the other way, and it was whistled.
And now let's see denial on the inbound. Here's Hailey Miller, and it remains Lehighton basketball with 6.7 seconds.
They still have another foul or two to give if they choose. They can be aggressive going for steals.
Yeah, great point. Coach Bereswick calls a timeout with 6.7 seconds to see if he can, get some points before going into the locker room. Glad you could join us here at Tamaqua High School. Schuylkill League basketball, girls action. Al DiCarlo, Tom Moser with you. First of two, boys to follow in an interesting matchup as well between Tamaqua and Lehighton. Our D11sports.com game of the week presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine. Again, right back at it tomorrow afternoon, 12:45 tip from Notre Dame Green Pond with Notre Dame taking on the Wilson Warriors.
Still undefeated Notre Dame Green Pond, correct?
That is correct. Going into tonight against Palmerton at 10-0. Mentioned before, the wins by Bereswick. Josh Kopp just became the all-time winningest coach at Notre Dame as he passed Tracy Sear, and his father tonight, Mike Kopp, going for win number 1,000 against Pocono Mountain West, I believe. 26-12 on the inbound.
See what Bereswick drew up here out of bounds. Use the timeout.
Have to get a shot off. They will, and that one no good, and time will wind down. One half in the books. 26-12 in favor of Tamaqua. And we'll come back right after this. You're watching our D11sports.com game of the week presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine. Back after this.
St. Luke's Orthopedic Care. Extraordinary care in motion.
Are you searching for a place where you belong? Where your fitness matters? Regardless of what shape you're in, St. Luke's Fitness and Sports Performance Centers have a professional team that will help you meet or exceed your fitness goals. With locations throughout the region and nationally recognized fitness experts, you'll become a member of a supportive fitness community. We call it Extraordinary Fitness. Visit us online to start your free 7-day membership and let us help you thrive. Concussions are serious. 3 million sport, recreation, and auto accident-related concussions happen each year. 20% of high school athletes who play contact sports will suffer a concussion during the season. St. Luke's is the region's leader in assessing, managing, and treating concussions in athletes and non-athletes of all ages. Our multi-specialty teams of experts collaborate to care for you using the latest treatment options. Don't play head games, take concussion seriously. Call St. Luke's to schedule an appointment with one of our concussion experts.
We are back here at Tamaqua High School. Al DiCarlo, Tom Moser. Glad you could join us for our D11sports.com game of the week presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine. And, Tom, one half in the books, 26-12, a 14-point lead. A game that was a 14-2 run at one point. It was 20-6. After one, they cut to that lead, and they cut the lead to 10. But then after that, the lead's back up to 14. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think if you're Coach Bereswick, if you would have told him before the game that you were going to hold Tamaqua to 26 in the first half, I think he would have signed up for that, knowing how they want to push the ball and get up and down the floor and fire some shots up. The problem for him is that they're just not finding the basket on any of their looks. On the flip side, if you're Coach Davis, you're certainly going to be happy with a 14-point lead. You like to clear a few things up, but she did that, as I addressed earlier in the timeout, when she got her girls to increase their intensity man-to-man and caused quite a few turnovers there at the end of the first quarter. So I think some things to work on for both squads as we head into the second half.
Tommy, you watch a lot of basketball. You watch a lot of girls basketball. And at the same time, you look at this team in Tamaqua, it's going to be in a tough classification when it comes to districts, but, their type of play and, what they can do there.
Well, I'll tell you what, they have a very outstanding 1-2 punch. Obviously, Kaczynski scoring 1,600 points. We've talked about her a lot, but Titus has really impressed me. She commands the high post, in the middle of the zone right there. I'd be interested to see if Coach Berezwick actually ends up going man-to-man to see what Tamaqua can do against a man defense. But against the zone, once the first couple minutes wore off, they were very effective.
Yeah, 6 seniors on the roster. Kaczynski, just doing a great job, the way she moves the ball. Zuber, the point guard, I think, as well. When we talk to Coach Erica Davis, she knows that she's got, some key players in here that can really, do some big things. And, you look at what she's done with this program. 2-20 when she took over the program, first year, then 11-12, then 12-12, then 21-6, and right now 8-2. So the changes in there, and when you have a winner and you're believing, you're believing. These are the divisional standings. Looking at Division I right now.
So Division I, obviously the bigger schools in that Schuylkill League, and we talked to Coach Davis. She said that Jim Thorpe was the best team that they've played so far. They took them down to the wire, lost by 6 against Jim Thorpe, and they will get a rematch with them later. So I think she's content where they're at. You don't want to just put all your eggs in one basket and point towards one year, but when you have 5 seniors, obviously this is your year.
She's also the all-time three-point leader at Susquehanna. But you look at, Minersville leading Division II, Mahanoy leading Division III, and Mahanoy and Tamaqua playing last night, in one of those games. So, obviously there's a ways to go in the season, but at the same time, when you look at them, you try to, get your 11 wins. You're looking like a team like Lehighton right now, and then after that, you start making your run. So, there's a long way to go in the season, but overall, when we look at these two teams, especially when you look at Tamaqua, they have some key cogs to make a good run. But at the same time, when you look at districts, you're talking about the likes of Bethlehem Catholic, Jim Thorpe, Central Catholic, and Northwestern Lehigh. There's a bunch of them in there, but Bethlehem Catholic being maybe the biggest one.
So Tamaqua, as I mentioned earlier, they've lost to Jim Thorpe, and obviously Bethlehem Catholic in their classification, probably the best team in the state. So that's going to be a difficult one for them to overcome as well. But you know what? She's got to like her chances going up against anybody with 5 senior starters in there. At 21-6 last year, they had to play in some big games down the stretch, and that will prepare you for what you're going to see this year.
Yeah, boys action to follow. Again, as we mentioned, this is a doubleheader from Tamaqua High School, and hope you're enjoying our broadcast. Here are our live streams on D11sports.com, presented by St. Luke Sports Medicine. And, we've been trying to, go out and about. We're in Schuylkill League right now, and then we'll head back up to the Colonial League. And then on Tuesday, we will be at Catasauqua High School for some boys action, and always a good matchup. Salisbury and Catasauqua. You could take that way back to 1995-96. Frank Ulenko and Eric Snyder. Eric Snyder's been there forever. Does a great job with that team as well.
It's so funny you say that, Al. On the way up here today, as we look at the Indian, he's ready to go. He got here a little late. Maybe he'll inspire his girls here in the second half, but he's definitely ready to go for the boys' game. But as you mentioned, Salisbury, Catasauqua, I thought of that myself. What a great rivalry from the mid to late 90s and stretching forward. And we'll see Weaver and Snyder, 2 veteran coaches in that league, going at it on Tuesday night.
Yeah, that should be good. And then Friday night, the big matchup between Bethlehem Catholic and Nazareth. Those two teams will go at it. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll get ready to start quarter number 3. 26-12, Tamaqua leading. You're watching our D11sports.com Game of the Week, presented by St. Luke Sports Medicine. Back after this.
Hall of Fame pitcher Steve Carlton knows what it takes to exceed expectations. He knows what it means to be part of a team that rises above the competition. He knows a champion. Steve Carlton knows St. Luke's Orthopedic Care.
Are you searching for a place where you belong? Where your fitness matters? Regardless of what shape you're in, St. Luke's Fitness and Sports Performance Centers have a professional team that will help you meet or exceed your fitness goals. With locations throughout the region and nationally recognized fitness experts, you'll become a member of a supportive fitness community. We call it Extraordinary Fitness. Visit us online to start your free 7-day membership and let us help you thrive. Concussions are serious. 3 million sport, recreation, and auto accident-related concussions happen each year. 20% of high school athletes who play contact sports will suffer a concussion during the season. St. Luke's is the region's leader in assessing, managing, and treating concussions in athletes and non-athletes of all ages. Our multi-specialty teams of experts collaborate to care for you using the latest treatment options. Don't play head games, take concussion seriously. Call St. Luke's to schedule an appointment with one of our concussion experts.
Back here, halftime is just about complete. 26-12 is your score. I'm not going to say a tale of two halves, but this, because we didn't get to the half, but not even a tale of two quarters. Tamaqua, just after being 4-4, has really dominated all facets of the game.
Yeah, you hate to say that they weren't awake to start the game, but they were certainly sluggish the first 3-4 minutes on both ends of the floor. As I mentioned, they were not moving the ball or moving player-wise either against the zone defense on one end, and on the other end, they were not very aggressive defensively. That changed the last 12 minutes, and it completely flipped the momentum.
Well, with that, again, we will have boys action as well, and the boys will take place just after the girls' game. They usually put 15 minutes on that clock and get things going at the same time. So, again, one half in the books. They're ready to play half number 2. And we are underway here in half number 2. And with that, we'll go down to Casey Wallace, our student reporter from Lehighton, with our report. Casey?
Thanks, guys. I talked to Coach Erica Davis after the first half, and she said they started slow, but after they called that first time out, they really were able to push the tempo and keep the game moving fast. As for Coach Joe Bereswick for Lehighton, he thinks they played great, both offense and defensively, and he can't wait to see what they got in the second half. Back to you guys.
All right, KC, thanks a lot. Obviously getting that insight. When you talk to Coach Bereswick, he's been there for a long time, and, he feels, and I think you mentioned it before, he feels if his players make those shots, they can be in it. But the first 3-4 minutes of this quarter is huge for them.
Well, one thing I will say about Coach Bereswick, watching him here tonight, is he is very positive with his girls. He has not done any screaming or shouting or negative coaching whatsoever. He's been very positive and encouraging, and that's very comforting for you, even knowing when you make a mistake that you are going to hear positive reinforcement and give you confidence moving forward. Yeah,
I never get that positive reinforcement with you. You're constantly yelling at me. That's Dave, actually, okay.
Yeah, I don't yell at you. I just give you looks.
26-12 underway here, looking for our first basket of the second half. Leading scorers, if you're wondering, Kaczynski with 10. Eight points for Titus. And then for Lehighton, really just 4 points for Solomon. That's it.
Solomon's played a nice game for the Indians on both ends of the floor. As we see a three-pointer by Zuber right there to start the scoring in the third quarter.
So second three for Zuber. She's got 9 on the year, and here comes the pressure. And quickly to timeout after the pressure. Last thing you want to do is turn over the ball, but all of a sudden it's building up to a 17-point advantage.
That's the second timeout that Coach Bereswick's had to use to avoid a turnover because of pressure applied by the Blue Raiders. So these girls just need to slow themselves down and relax, take care of the basketball the way you do in your drills and practice.
Now, you mentioned, the schedules. Lehighton, they're coming off back-to-back losses. One to Jim Thorpe, 68-45, and a heartbreaker the other night, losing to Pine Grove, 34-33. That in the final, final minutes or final seconds of the game, a back-and-forth affair. But for them, coming up next, Pottsville, Panther Valley, North Schuylkill, and Blue Mountain. So they go 2 on the road, 2 away. Again, you're still fighting yourself with the 5 wins, just looking for your first win in the division. But again, just trying to see if you can get some more wins and put yourself in position to qualify for districts.
Yeah, at 5-8, they don't have a lot of wiggle room left, and they have a couple tough opponents on the schedule that have beaten them the first time around. So Coach Perez would love to get his young group into the postseason this year and get that experience. They're going to have to pull an upset or two down the stretch here for that to happen.
Yeah, I agree with that. Two minutes in.
Nice set on the out of bounds there. Just, again, story of the night. Can't get the ball to fall.
Yeah, it didn't drop there for Aaliyah Fisher. When Coach Berezic watches this, again, there's still a long way to go in the game, but watching this and seeing those great looks, he'll be pleased with that. Just to say, hey, we got to drop some of these in.
Well, again, not to steal a catchphrase from the Sixers, Al, but they have to trust the process here and realize that if they do what he's telling them and teaching them and coaching them to do, that eventually the shots will fall. They may not tonight, they may not the next game, but over time they will fall, as we see Titus cleaning up inside.
Never heard of that trust the process from the Sixers. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I don't know. I mean, they trusted it, but we'll see.
I'm still trying to figure out Embiid's finger.
Yeah. And his calf, and what else does he have?
True.
An abundance of injuries for Mr. Embiid.
19-point lead.
Here we see the shot from the baseline and the offensive rebound. Sometimes those are the toughest ones to get as a defensive player, almost an air ball, because you have no deflection off the rim.
That's a clean look and a good look for Solomon. She's got 6.
Nice touch for Solomon. That's a couple of those that she's made.
31-14. Over to Titus, nothing there.
Good patience by the Blue Raiders.
Kaczynski drawing contact, and we'll go to the free throw line.
They made at least 4, 5, 6 passes right there. Passed up a decent look and got a better look. Passed up a better look and got a very good look. And as a result, their best players going to the line for 2.
Kaczynski makes the free throw.
Here we go after a series of passes. A nice little ball fake there by Kaczynski. Not enough help defense in the middle of the paint. And she converts both.
When you're averaging 23 points per game, those numbers really add up quick when it comes to the season.
That is a lot to average in a girls' high school basketball game, 23 points.
No question about it.
Especially when you look at some of the results that they've had. They have won a few games by a large margin, and I can't imagine she's playing well into the fourth quarter of those games. So she's losing some opportunities because of how good they've been playing and the margins they've been winning by.
I believe she had 27 last night in the win against Mahanoy. 33-14. And another 2 dropping home is Ashley Marchesalt. (33-16) cuts the lead to 17. Titus just doing a great job.
Well, in that time, as I mentioned in the first half, she moves extremely well without the ball. She gave it up. She caught the defenders napping, and she cut to the basket for an open layup, and they cause a 5-second count on the inbounds.
So biggest lead of the game, up to 19 with possession. And that one just a give up. Here's Hailey Miller. Miller will rush in and score the deuce.
Good read there by Miller. She read the inbounds play, stepped in front, picked it clean.
35-18. Titus will pass that one back. That one almost picked again by Miller. Good job defensively. This team not going away.
We're going to see a timeout by Coach Davis in Tamaqua. She senses a couple bad possessions in a row and doesn't want it to get any more out of hand.
Glad you could join us here for our D11Sports.com Game of the Week presented by St. Luke Sports Medicine. You mentioned number 22, Emily Titus, has done a great job. Take a look there. She's got 4 points in this quarter. She's got a dozen for the game.
There was that give and go, and the defender, what do you do a lot oftentimes when the person in front of you passes the ball, you turn your head. Titus caught the defender turning her head, and she cut right to the open seam on the floor and got a great pass from her teammate. That's one of the byproducts of playing with 5 seniors. You've played together for so long. You know that Titus is going to make that cut because she's done it for years in practice and games, and it led to a deuce.
Okay, I want to thank the athletic director here, Mike Horomiak, who's gotten us some information, and also his hospitality, helping us out. And, the head coaches, throughout the years, but Bereswick with the 277 wins. Karen Rodditt, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, back in the 70s with 161 wins. Dennis Kormanik with 78 wins. Jeff Anushko with 49 wins. And Erica Barron right now, or Erica Davis, 54, 52. I know I was going to say it eventually, with 54 wins. And Andy Harvin with 10. 630 wins in girls basketball history for this program. Another off the steal on the basket.
The home run ball right there, Al. I was going to say it looked like Carson Wentz, but sore subject for some.
It was. So Marge Salt with 4 in the quarter. Cuts the lead to 15. Another steal here. And going in left and scoring 2 more is Hailey Miller.
Things have shifted in the last 2 minutes. All of a sudden, a lot of life out of the Indians.
35-22. The lead was 19. It's cut to 13. And Tom, how many times did we say this? As you take a look, off the steal, you get some momentum coming your way, and sometimes, it can really get a positive spin. Again, at the same time, they have not been, shooting the lights out by any means, Lehighton. But now all of a sudden they're starting to get a little flow and playing better defensively.
Well, all sports are a thing of confidence, mental game. So you see the ball go through, you make a couple good plays, and it gives you confidence. On the flip side, things start going downhill a little bit, and you kind of hang your head and say, oh, here we go again. Right now, the last few possessions on each end of the floor have certainly been won by Lehighton, and they're feeling themselves a little bit right now.
Inside, nice little feed. That one doesn't go. Ball loose, and it bounces into the hands of Sophia Boyle. Boyle will rush down the court. Inside 3 minutes to play over to Titus. That one tipped away. Defense all of a sudden a little tenacious here for Lehighton.
It seems as though the Indians have 6 girls on the floor at this point. They have hands on every pass at this point, and Coach Davis has to be pretty unhappy with the way the last 3 minutes have unfolded here.
Much needed possessions. Kaczynski tries to go for the steal, won't get it. And Lehighton will reset on the offense, trying to go baseline. That cut off. Thinking 3. 3 will not fall, however, for Solomon. With some great looks to try to cut it to a 10-point lead.
I think that's one of the things that Coach Bereswick is going to tell his troops at the end of the third quarter here. We can knock 1 or 2 of these in. We are going to be right in this thing.
Inside out they go. That 3 well off the mark. And that goes right into the hands of Tanaya Klotz. And a whistle and a foul.
The ball's sticking a little too much for Tamaqua here lately. They're not getting the movement they had before. And as a result, they've been stuck on 35 for a couple minutes.
Whistle and a foul.
Chappelle on the deuce. Nice look inside. And the momentum continues for the Indians.
That lead is cut, and they have not scored since the 4:25 mark has Tamaqua. It's an 11-point game. It was 19 at the 4:25 mark, 35-16. Wide open look for Titus. You cannot let that happen, and Titus makes them pay. That's her first 3-pointer of the year.
Good time for it, actually. Momentum really was slipping away right there, and they force a turnover off the inbounds.
Titus thinking, hey, I'll try that again.
So one of the things that happened here in the latter stages of the third quarter was Tamaqua not scoring. They have not been able to set up their pressure. Right there, they knock a shot in, they set up pressure, and they get a turnover. Let's see if they can get another one here.
Off the inbound, nice feed, and the basket counted by Solomon. Solomon's been really active. She's got 8 points, 4 in the quarter.
And Coach Berezwick has figured out, you know what, if they're going to try and pressure us here, it's almost like a blitz in football. You're going to counter with a screen or a draw, and he's sending his girls long for outlet passes, and they got a couple baskets off of that.
Jumper in the lane, doesn't go, ball loose, and this goes off of Tamaqua. And with 46 seconds on the clock, a 12-point game, Lehighton gets the ball back.
Kaczynski's been pretty quiet this third quarter here. Not a lot of offense from her.
Yeah, just 2 free throws here in the third quarter.
Solomon with the deep hook. Almost went.
Again, we get back to those shots, but they're not going to always fall, Tommy.
They're not, but they're shooting a very poor percentage. If they would, again, I said this before, but if they'd only knock in 2 or 3 more of those misses, this is a 2 or 3 possession game right now. They're now going to start the fourth quarter with the basketball after that last jump ball right there. If they can get a stop here and start the fourth quarter with the ball, they have to feel pretty decent about where they're sitting right now.
That one knocked away, almost another takeaway. Good job driving inside, but drawing some contact is Jamie Zuber. And she'll hit the free throw line with 5.1 seconds remaining.
Tough break right there for the Indians. They had their hand on the loose ball and just couldn't corral it.
Zuber hits the free throw. Has only been there 5 times this year, but has made all 5.
It's a pretty good percentage, I think, right?
Yeah, that's pretty good. It's above average. How's that? Second one is good as well. So she hits both free throws. Final 5 seconds as they'll wind it down. See if they can get a shot off. Here's a 3. It counts if it goes. It does not. 3 complete. 1 to go. It's 40-26 Tamaqua after 3. Back after this with your D11sports.com game of the week presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine. 40-26 your score.
Concussions are serious. 3 million sport, recreation, and auto accident-related concussions happen each year. 20% of high school athletes who play contact sports will suffer a concussion during the season. St. Luke's is the region's leader in assessing, managing, and treating concussions in athletes and non-athletes of all ages. Our multi-specialty teams of experts collaborate to care for you using the latest treatment options. Don't play head games, take concussion seriously. Call St. Luke's to schedule an appointment with one of our concussion experts.
(40-26) your score after 3 quarters of play. Your thoughts, Tommy, through 3.
Well, here's one thing I want to point out. Looking at the scores for Tamaqua this season, they're sitting at 8-2. The 2 losses they had were by 1 point and by 6. All 8 of their wins out are by double figures. So if you're Coach Berezwick right now, you're saying to your team, let's see if we can make this a close game. Obviously, you want to make it a close game, but let's see how Tamaqua responds in a close game, and maybe we can get the best of them because they haven't won a close game yet. So they're playing very hard, and it was up to 19, and they've certainly clawed their way back into it where we have a competitive game here in the fourth quarter.
That shot off the mark by Kaczynski. Ball loose. We got a whistle on a foul. Through 3 quarters, 15 points for Emily Titus, 12 points for Kaczynski. She's 10 points below her average. We'll see how that changes in the fourth quarter. And on the other side, Alexis Solomon with 8 points and 6 points for Miller and Marchesal.
There's another deflection and steal. Coach Davis cannot be happy about that. They've been pretty careless here with the basketball, especially in the second half. Although great hustle by Boyle right there.
14-point game. Biggest lead was 19. It was 20-6 after one. Tamaqua 26-12 by 14 and 40-26 after 3. So 14's been that number really throughout. Baseline jumper, that one's good. Jen Fredrickson, she's on the scoreboard. Her first 2.
And there's that soft spot in the zone when you hit the high post. It's going to collapse the zone, kick it out to the baseline, the short corner, short porch area.
In and out. March Assault can't get that one to drop.
Fouls against Lehighton, number 23, Althea Fisher. Returning for the Lake Raiders, number 22, Hailey Titus. Returning for Lehighton, number 34.
Titus going to come back into the game here for the Blue Raiders.
Underway, fourth quarter. We'll have a boys game to follow. Tamaqua and Lehighton, double dip here. From Tamaqua, nice feed in the lane. That one, however, does not go for Fredrickson, trying for back-to-back. Kaczynski will say, I'll take it from there, and she's got 14.
Soft touch, shooter's roll.
Just like that, back up to an 18-point lead off the window, cutting into that lead. March Assault.
Very good second half here for March Assault. She's made a couple impact plays and knocked a couple shots in too.
And March Assault now with 8 points. Liking that spot on the court, not connecting, however, is Fredrickson, but that's been there really all night.
Yeah, that's a shot that you don't see a lot at the higher levels of basketball anymore, but in high school against a 2-3 zone, that's an open spot very, very often.
Three from way outside will not go, but then the rebound is taken by Lehighton, lost it, and steps out of bounds. So today a Klotz had it in her hand but couldn't hold on to it.
Maybe a little out of Solomon's range, but she's had a very good game. I think Coach Berezwick would live with that one.
It has 7 3-pointers on the season. From the corner. I'll tell you what, really impressed with Emily Titus. She's got 17.
That's a very nice stroke from the outside for someone who has not made a 3 going into tonight's game. Boyle, again, she is involved in every tie-up. That's 3 jump balls that she's been involved in this fourth quarter alone.
Approaching the 5-minute mark. The game was tied at 4-4. Tamaqua went on a 12-2 run, and then things from there have really gone their way. Lehighton cut it into the lead a couple times, getting the ball down, getting the lead down to about 12. Good idea. There's got to be some contact there. Either way, Fredrickson has 4, and it's a 20-point lead.
Heady pass right there by Kaczynski. She sensed the defender coming over and dished it off to Fredrickson for the deuce.
You know, we always say in the game of basketball, when you're in that mix and you're right in that range, you know, like between the 13 and the 16 range in a game, you can go this way or it can go the other way. And they cut the lead a couple times to 12, but right now it's back up to 20.
Well, you pointed it out, Al. It's all about making plays. And when it was in that 13-point range, as we see Chappelle with a deuce, when you have shots, basketball's a game of making shots. If they knock 1 or 2 of those down, it's an 8 or 9-point game. They didn't, and as a result, it was 14, and it's up to 16, and now it's up to 18.
But one thing you have to give credit to Joe Berezwick and his team is they are not giving up, and they're giving everything they got when there's a turnover.
They are, and as I pointed out earlier, you can tell he's encouraging his girls on both ends of the floor after good plays and after bad plays, and they are listening to every word he's saying. They're responding, and that's why they're playing hard, and that's why the man's won 300 games.
Feed in traffic, nowhere to go, and coming out of that pile was Solomon, but couldn't connect.
You can tell they work on that in practice where they're trying to make an entry pass into Solomon inside. They've done that several times with mixed results, but I like the effort.
That one off the mark. They feed that one up. Good play. Kaczynski can't get that one to drop. Down to 3:30 on the clock. Basket counted and won by Marchessault. She's got 10.
Nice job of pushing the ball to the floor right there, taking an advantage. They haven't had numbers too often tonight, but right there they did. Tamaqua a little late getting back on defense as we look at the replay here. Boyle tries to slide over, but just a little too late, and it's a block and one. Can't convert. There's Kaczynski inside. May have gotten her arm grabbed a little bit, but we get no call, and now we get a jump ball. Kaczynski wants to know why there was no call.
Returning for the Lady Raiders, number 4, McKenna Kane.
3:19 to go. This is going to be Lehighton's ball on the tie-up. Good pressure outside by the Blue Raiders, as they've been all game in man-to-man. Some good motion offense here by Lehighton. Coach Berezwick knows the outcome might not change tonight.
Miller with the bucket. She's got 8.
But he wants to see them run their stuff and execute, and they've done it well.
Titus has 2 more. She now has 19.
She's done it from every spot on the floor tonight. So we see a little ticky-tack reach right there. Boyle's aggressiveness gets the best of her sometimes. She's caused several jump balls, but that time gets tagged for the reach-in and puts Marchessault on the line for a 1-on-1. .226 to go.
Fighting through traffic. Kaczynski will go to the free throw line.
Fouls on Lehighton, number 14, Hailey Miller. Kaczynski on the line.
Well, Tom, we talked about Kaczynski, and obviously a very, very good player, but she has players around her that really, keep her going, and you can't just do it yourself. And you said it before; she's very unselfish, and she's scoring 24 points a game.
Well, I think one thing that's really good sign for this Tamaqua team moving forward is the girls on this team seem to know their roles. They don't play outside of themselves. They don't take shots that they're not comfortable taking and making. They don't try and make plays they're not comfortable making. And that comes from coaching. Obviously, Coach Davis knows because she's been there, and she's got a group that's played a lot of games together, and that's going to be a good sign moving forward for this team.
Kaczynski with 2 more. Final 2 minutes of game number 1 of 2. Going baseline, and basket by Tadea Klotz.
Nice drive there, baseline by Klotz. Good finish.
.131 on the clock. Kaczynski inside out. At the 3. Take it any way you want it. Rebecca Horomiak.
Banks are open after 5, I guess, on Fridays here in Schuylkill County.
AD's daughter knocking home the 3. She'll take that one. When don't you take a 3? I'll take it. I used to hit those.
You did?
Yeah, that's the only way I knew how to shoot.
On an 8-foot rim?
Here's Kaczynski with 2 more.
Quick timeout there by Coach Davis just to get some players in the game here and give some of her seniors a nice round of applause from the home fans.
For the Lady Raiders, number 15, Serena Jones, number 23, Trinity Swingler, and number 24, Emma Hope.
Final 45 seconds. So a loss will drop Lehighton to 0-5 in league play, and Tamaqua to 3-2. Tamaqua will improve to 9-2. Lehighton will fall to 5-9. You mentioned no room for error the rest of the way, but at the same time, they've got some tough games coming your way. But you look at Coach Bereswick, first things first, his team came and played, and will come up short, but not for lack of effort, that's for sure.
Yeah, not having seen their prior games, one thing is clear, that their effort is there for 32 minutes from this team, no matter what the scoreboard says.
Romack with 2 more. Final 7 seconds. Wind it down. And the victory here for Tamaqua, 60-36, is your final score in this one. And we'll get the player to aim and coach in a minute. Right now we'll break the action. 60-36, come back with our D11sports.com game of the week, presented by St. Luke Sports Medicine.
Are you searching for a place where you belong? Where your fitness matters? Regardless of what shape you're in, St. Luke's Fitness and Sports Performance Centers have a professional team that will help you meet or exceed your fitness goals. With locations throughout the region and nationally recognized fitness experts, you'll become a member of a supportive fitness community. We call it Extraordinary Fitness. Visit us online to start your free 7-day membership and let us help you thrive.
We are back. Al DiCarlo alongside Tommy Moser, and I know Casey Wallace is setting up down below, and Casey has our head coach down on the court. And we go down to Casey Wallace. We go down to Casey Wallace, who has winning head coach Erica Davis. Casey?
I'm here with Coach Erica Davis for Tamaqua. Coach, how does it feel to get this win?
It was a nice win. We started off slow, but I'm happy with the way our girls finished tonight.
And how does this help your momentum going into next game?
Every win counts from here on out, so we're hoping to take this win, and then we start preparing for our next opponent after this. Thank you.
Good. This is your D11 Sports Player of the Game, Emily Titus. And what are your thoughts on the game?
This is a great win. After the Blue Mountain loss, this was a great way to come back for in leagues play.
And how does this help you with your momentum going into next game?
It helps a lot because we got some tough games coming up, and that was a great boost going into the rest of the season.
Okay, thanks. Back to you guys. Congrats.
All right, Casey, great job on the court. 2 points for Klotz, 10 points for Margisalt, 8 points for Miller, 2 points for Fisher, 8 points for Solomon, and 6 points for Chappelle. The other way, Zuber had 8, 5 points for Hromak, 3 points for Boyle, Titus with 19, 4 points for Frederickson. Kuczynski finishes with 19. I mentioned Titus with 19 as well, and Reinhardt finishes with 2. 60-36, your final score in this one, and I'm sure we're going to see much noise from Tamaqua down the road without question. The boys' game to follow in a few minutes, and this will wrap it up for game number 1. Again, the final score, 60-36 for Tom Moser and everyone here at D11sports.com. And Al DiCarlo saying so long. We'll be back here in a few minutes with game number 2.